What's up, Star Wars fans? We are the Hills Maniacs, and today we are going to review the final film in each trilogy of Star Wars. Like we've done in the past two videos that we've done of this, we will start with the prequel trilogy, then go into the original trilogy, and then to the sequels. So we will start by talking about Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith, and then we will go to Episode 6, Return of the Jedi, and Episode 9, Rise of Skywalker. So, Revenge of the Sith, my favorite of the prequel trilogy.
Mine as well. Yeah.
I think compared to Attack of the Clones especially, because Attack of the Clones was severely trash. I personally really like Revenge of the Sith. I think they do a great job at having Anakin become Vader.
Yeah. Honestly, I think this is the movie I've seen the most of the Star Wars movies, so I feel like, honestly, for me, this one might be the best Star Wars, like, of the three, like, of these three, at least, I think, like, because I think Episode 5 is probably, or even Episode 4 is probably the best Star Wars, in my opinion, like, of all for me, but of these three, like, I think Episode 3, like you said, it did a really good job of, like, showing Anakin officially become Darth Vader, and I think it gave a good reason for why he does it, because he feels like that's the only way he can save Padme from dying, but Palpatine, like the devil that he is, was basically just tricking him.
Lying to him anyway. Yes.
Yeah, he had to kill all these people and everything else to become Darth Vader, and then he does, and realizes he can't save Padme anyways. He never learns how to heal someone from death and all that stuff. So I felt it was a really good, like, honestly, if this was the only, like, prequel movie that they had, it probably would have been okay. I don't know how they would have done it. Like, maybe take bits and pieces from, like, 1 and 2 and shove them into 3, and then you kind of see, like, Anakin's journey from there.
True.
But for what it was, I mean, I feel like it was the best of the 3 endings to the ending to each of the trilogies, honestly. Like, this is the one I've seen the most.
See, I think what would have made this more closer to being my favorite, which is still Empire Strikes Back, but I know it's only, you only have so much time in the movie, so you can't show everything.
Yeah.
But I wish they would have focused more on Order 66.
Yeah, like
and showing, especially because we know Anakin raided the Jedi Temple on Coruscant, because it shows him walking up, and then it shows him killing the younglings, and then it shows him going, to fight Obi-Wan on Mustafar. But it doesn't show what happens in between. And I know you can't, but, like, they've put out comics since then, and
other books
and stuff that have talked about different things that have happened, or something like, did he fight against other Jedi masters? Did he just come in and slaughter all of them, or did they actually put up a fight? Like, I would have at least liked to see, not necessarily like the unimportant one, like just some random Jedi, but like maybe some of the more main ones that were still left, that we haven't seen die yet in the series. Could have fought either against Anakin or against the clones that were invading with him in the 501st. So that would have, I think, bumped up where it's at on my list of favorite movies. And
I think, like, it did do a good job. Like, we already knew what the future was going to be because, they released it, like, out of order. But if they hadn't released it out of order, or if this was, like, you were watching the Star Wars movies in order from Episode 1 for, like, the first time, I feel like this movie did good of definitely setting up the future, because now you're like, well, what does Anakin do next? He's this Darth Vader guy, and then you watch Episode 4, and you're like, hey, that's Anakin, I don't think there was anything wrong with this movie, honestly. Like, it did good. I mean, maybe there's some things you could take out, but, like, I don't feel like it needed, like, this scene needed to be cut, or, like, this, like, in Episode 1, like, they waste like an hour with the whole pod racing thing. It's like, that could have probably been cut, but like this one, I feel like everything was fine. But moving on to Episode 6, for me, I feel like the series should have ended here. Like, I mean, at least I don't think we needed a prequel or a sequel trilogy, honestly.
We didn't really need the prequels either.
Because you get the whole wrap-up of, like, everything perfectly. Like, Darth Vader dies at killing Palpatine, and he gets redeemed, becoming
Spoilers,
Anakin Skywalker again. Yeah. Because I'm sure nobody's ever seen that.
Yeah.
And he gets redeemed. It's his whole redemption arc and everything else. Basically, Return of the Jedi is a double meaning. It's Luke returns in this movie after being on hiatus from Episode 5.
Ooh.
Hiatus. But then it's also the return of Anakin Skywalker, technically, and then, Vader dies. It's a nice wrap-up to everything. Palpatine. I don't think we needed anything after this. It was a nice conclusion. If they wanted to continue doing Star Wars movies, they could have just done some like individual ones, like what Rogue One
Solo.
Was. And the Mandalorian
that
series
filled in
now.
the blanks.
Yeah. I don't think we needed, because all the sequel trilogy really ended up being was just kind of almost
the same
like a
thing
reboot.
As the prequel.
Yeah, it was like almost like a reboot of episodes 4, 5, and 6. It's like you can see the similarities between a lot of them.
Yep.
So episode 6, I would honestly put at like the second best in this out of these three. But what do you?
Well, it's my second favorite overall, not just of these three movies. Right after Empire, but I agree completely. Return of the Jedi was the last one in the original trilogy, and it should have been the end. They ended there for 40, well, technically it would have been 40 years until Force Awakens, but after Revenge of the Sith, which came out in 2003, they brought out, 12 years between the 3 and 7, so they really didn't need the prequel trilogy, or the sequel trilogy, but,
Yeah, honestly, like, those were just, like, cash grabs.
Yeah.
Like, let's bring Star Wars
and
back.
I mean, Return of the Jedi, it gave you that feel like when Vader kills Palpatine, it's like that big moment, like Vader is turning on the dark side, basically. Yeah. Vader is coming back to the light. And this guy that we've grown to hate throughout these 3 movies is now somebody that we're supposed to like. And somebody that we're supposed to have, a friendship with, if you will. Somebody we're supposed to care about now, And you get that, and you're like, oh, I'm going to like this guy for the rest of the movie, and then he dies. So it's like... But, I mean, even the battle scenes in this, they managed to blow up the Death Star again, but it's Lando this time instead of... It's Lando Calrissian this time instead of Luke. And you have the Endor scenes, with the Ewoks, and so you get that stuff. Plus you have Luke with Vader and Palpatine. And, I mean, Luke holds his own against Vader, but then Palpatine, sneaks in behind and manages to attack Luke, which is what causes Vader to turn on him because, he's his son.
I'd say probably, like, mostly the original trilogy has the most memorable moments through the whole Star Wars franchise, too. And, when you think about it, specifically probably, like, episode 5 and 6, like, everybody remembers, like, the I'm Your Father thing from 5 and all the, like, the Ewoks and everything from 6. So it's probably at least those 2 out of the 3 from the original trilogy are like the most memorable movies, probably.
Right, and it gives you those iconic characters. You think of Wicket, the Ewok. You get the whole Tatooine thing where Boba Fett falls into the Sarlacc pit, and Jabba the Hutt dies. They manage to fight Jabba before they go off to the main battle. To get Han and Leia, and so there's just all kinds of cool stuff that comes together and really comes full circle. So episode 9,
what episode?
I just mentioned the fact that Palpatine died in Return of the Jedi.
Nobody's ever really gone.
Apparently not, because in Rise of Skywalker, Palpatine is back. He's the main villain in the whole thing. We find out he's been the voices that have been talking to Kylo Ren. He was Snoke.
Well, he
created Snoke, but he was really behind
this whole thing was
Snoke. He was, when Kylo would hear the voice of Darth Vader in his head. You know, it was Palpatine talking to him as Darth Vader. You know, and that was just all this.
Yeah. It was meant for nothing more than like a nostalgia act and things like that. And for people who haven't seen, or for like younger fans, I guess, like, here's the evil guy. You know, it's like they didn't need Palpatine brought back in this. We saw Palpatine definitively die.
See, I mean, I guess what they were trying to do was introduce this new force power that Palpatine was talking about the whole time, is that he can't die because he can put his life force into another body. Yeah. They obviously didn't show it.
I mean, they didn't really like.
At the same time,
explained well.
You know, when we talked about the sequels being, you know, newer versions of the original trilogy, you look at this movie and a Skywalker betrays Palpatine, because Kylo Ren turns on Palpatine. A Skywalker is responsible for the death of Palpatine, and then said Skywalker dies from Palpatine, pretty much.
Yeah.
So, and Kylo Ren in the new ones, and
except Luke
Darth
and Vader
Vader
didn't kiss like Rey. Like Rey and
that
Kylo
would have been weird.
Yeah. Yes. It's not only bad that this movie like copied its own thing. The last like maybe half an hour or hour of this movie was straight up Avengers Endgame.
Clear as day, trying to copy
the
Avengers
scene at the
Endgame.
end where Poe was in a ship all by himself, and then all these he thinks he's all alone against all these forces,
and then Lando and Wedge
and basically the on your left moment.
Yep.
It was similar to Captain America standing tall against Thanos, and then everyone comes through the portals in Endgame, and even the whole I am the Sith and I am all the Jedi thing is basically
I am inevitable and I am Iron Man. Yeah.
There's that whole part. Like I literally laughed. I think when I saw it. Like they're straight up just
the bad part is they're both owned by Disney. I could see like maybe like DC trying to copy Endgame, or like Warner Brothers trying to copy Endgame, because it's a rival company. It's owned by the same people.
They just wanted to. That's what I said. They just wanted to pick and choose something from. Oh well, Avengers Endgame did it successfully, so why can't we do it?
I will give Rise of Skywalker some credit for a few things. First off, they killed off the Knights of Ren like they were diddly. They didn't do anything, which was great because they didn't need that whole storyline that he's the leader of the Knights of Ren. So that was great. And then we had Wedge Antilles came back, Lando came back. We had references to other classic Star Wars characters in this, when Rey hears the voices of all the Jedi. But then also you do have the battle scene where it shows all of the people coming together, from all over the galaxy. I get they were copying Endgame pretty much.
To me, I took this as, it was like an epic battle at the end, like an epic moment and everything, but all I could think after having seen Endgame was like, it's copy-paste from Endgame. It wasn't that exciting to me because that's all I could think of. Now, if you had never seen, if you were more of a Star Wars fan, never watched any of the MCU stuff, I could see that being epic, but I also feel like it was just more of a nostalgia thing. It was basically like a movie.
Basically all it was.
They basically could have just taken the original characters and just had all them in it instead. You didn't even need the new characters.
Yeah.
Just had old man Han Solo running around and stuff. That's all it felt like to me. It wasn't as exciting. I was just happy to get it over with. I'm like, oh, okay, it's the last one in the new trilogy. Yeah. Woohoo! The
one thing that really made me mad about this movie was at the end when Rey goes to the Skywalker home on Tatooine.
Yeah, this whole scene.
They had the Force Ghost of Luke and the Force Ghost of Leia standing there, and I get that they were the big inspiration to Rey. I get that, but it's the Skywalker home, the birthplace of Anakin Skywalker.
Yeah. Could have been.
I get she wouldn't have known him. But she knew Kylo, who sacrificed himself to save her. And he wasn't even there. He would have been able to become a Force Ghost because everything we know about Force Ghosts says he would have. He sacrificed himself, he turned back. And we know Anakin came back as a Force Ghost because he was at the end of Return of the Jedi as a Force Ghost. So they could have, even if they couldn't get Hayden Christensen to stand there as Anakin, or they didn't have the footage of, just put them in and just make them clear. And I have nothing against them having Luke and Leia there. I get why they were there. Don't understand why they couldn't take the time to get, because they had Hayden Christensen's voice when Rey heard all the Jedi talking to her, so they could have had him standing there. They could have had Kylo standing there, especially Kylo, even if they didn't get Anakin because she didn't really know him. At least get Kylo to stand there with it, with his uncle and his mother, and I think that would have made this officially come full circle. It starts with Anakin and it ends with Rey as a Skywalker, even though she's technically a Palpatine. But I really wish they would have had Anakin and Kylo standing there.
So out of these 3 movies, I'd say for me personally, just because I've seen it the most, Episode 3 is the best of the trilogy endings, I guess. Trilogy ending movies or whatever. So, for me, it was Episode 3. Which one?
No, Return of the Jedi, Episode 6.
Well, yeah. I don't think anybody's picking Episode 9.
Yeah, no, so. It would definitely go Return of the Jedi, Revenge of the Sith, and Rise of Skywalker all start with R. That was a thing.
That's something.
But I feel the original trilogy, I think, has won on all 3 of these, at least for me. Yeah. So they were just great movies. And if you're going to start watching Star Wars, start with the original trilogy.
Just start with those, ignore all the other ones, and then watch The Mandalorian.
You really don't need the newer ones, so just you can stop
watch
there.
4, 5, and 6 and The Mandalorian.
Yeah,
you'll be good.
Because Baby Yoda, that's why.
Yeah. So let us know what you guys think down in the comments section. Which of these trilogy ending movies was your favorite, whether it was Episode 3, 6, or 9. And also be sure to like this video and subscribe for more. Every Tuesday we'll be talking about Star Wars related things, especially on Star Wars Day.
Which is next week, I believe.
On May 4th this year, we're going to be doing some kind of
Star Wars trivia or
Star Wars trivia or some sort of special video for that. So if you're a Star Wars fan, keep an eye out for that. And thank you for watching, everyone. We'll see you in the next one.
May the Force be with you.
Subscribe.